Welcome to Ed Fluential Sports, where passion meets precision. And I'm your host Ed, diving deep into the plays, players, and stories shaping the game. Make sure you leave a like, comment, subscribe, and share. Now getting into it with the AEW Dynamite recap. Another good episode of Dynamite. I think it's just the lowest rated. Actually, no, because the first Dynamite I gave an 8 out of 10. Last week I gave 8.5. This week another 8 out of 10. I dropped a few shorts about Dynamite on the MJF promo. That was really solid. I enjoyed that. The women's tag team match, it was all right. The end was just a bit shaky to me. And then it was what was the other one I did? It was the trio street fight. That was a fun match. But getting to the other stuff that was important on Dynamite, since I made shorts about that, Jet Speed and Hangman, the new trios champions, they had a backstage segment, and it was kind of weird. It wasn't weird, but it was like they had a backstage segment. They're trying to come up with a tag team name, and it was what did Speed? No, Kevin Knight was like the Kevin Knight wanted to do the rodeo or something. I forgot what it was, and then Speedball said something crazy, which I'm not repeating. But yeah, they need a tag team name, but seeing them as trios champions is cool. But they had a tag team. Mike Bailey had a one-on-one match with Samoa Joe and Hangman, Kevin Knight. They were nowhere to be found during that match. Like, it was just Mike Bailey. If he was taking on Samoa Joe, it was constant interference from the Ops, Shibata and what's his name, Nick, not Hook, Shibata and Hook. They got involved a few times, and it was a really solid match. Like, Mike Bailey was getting some offense in. He looked good in the match. Like, he took Heyman's advice. He was using his speed to the best of his ability against Samoa Joe. So he did what he could, but it just simply wasn't enough with all the interference, and they didn't help him. Like Hangman and Kevin Knight, I know they had other stuff they had to deal with, but they didn't come out there at all during that match. It was just Hangman, he was nowhere to be found. Kevin Knight, nowhere to be found. So it was like, y'all were trios champions, but y'all not helping Mike Bailey in this match. So I just found that kind of weird, especially when the Ops had all that interference. So that was one of the parts of the show I didn't like. Even though Samoa Joe did get the win, which I expected, it's like Samoa Joe doesn't need that much help. And if he is going to get that much help, it should be offset by Mike Bailey getting that same amount of help as well from his partners. Like, yes, I get that Kevin Knight got a match later in the night, but he can come out there and even up the odds just a little bit, or at least Hangman come out there. Like, that was kind of, or maybe even Swerve and Kevin Knight come out there because they got respect for each other. And Swerve said he thinks highly of Kevin Knight. He just wanted to prove himself, which we'll get to that later in the night. Which we got to that match later in the night. But continuing with the recap, they had FTR battling Alec Price and Jordan Oliver, who made their debut. It was a competitive contest. Like, it wasn't super long. They allowed two newcomers to get a little bit of offense in. Then FTR ended up winning the match, but it was like they gave them a run for their money. Obviously, Price and Oliver wasn't going to win, but it was a good showing for them. They're officially signed to AEW. I do think they can add to the tag team division if they plan on continuing as a tag team, because you already had the matching gear. They had the tag team chemistry. They just need a name. Like, they really did look like a tag team out there. So, excuse me. That was a fun match. Like, it was short, like I said. It wasn't like a long match. I think it was like 5 minutes, but fast-paced action. FTR, they attempted to slow down the pace, wasn't able to due to the speed of Price and Oliver. But then they finally were able to get the advantage towards the end, being the veteran tag team, being the world tag team champions, and they got the win. So FTR, they did a great job making them look good, while also still, despite them losing, Price and Oliver, despite their loss, they look really good in the match. And I definitely have high hopes for them in AEW. Maybe they do some stuff in Ring of Honor, but them and FTR running it back one day will be cool, even if they don't get the win. But I'd like to see them running back in a longer match. Like I said, this one was short, but it was a good match. Like I said, they newcomers, so it wasn't going to be a super long match with them. Julia had, it was the Triangle of Madness. They all called out the Babes arrived and Chris Statlander. Julia Hart, she's been waiting on a rematch for 2 years versus Chris Statlander. Versus Willow. Now the Willow is finally champion again. Julia Hart wants Willow on Collision this weekend. Then Tekla, she called out Chris Statlander wants a match on Dynamite for the World Championship, which I found interesting because I thought the Sisters of Sin could have won after the tag titles. But if they are able, which I'm not going to do predictions for it, but if they were able to win both women's titles, it's like Sky Blue, she can still go after a Ring of Honor title. Oh, yeah, since they own Ring of Honor. So them holding 3 championships at the same time, it's not completely impossible. Them all having singles gold. But yeah. So yeah, like I said, and then later Willow, Harley, Chris, they had their segment when they responded to it. Willow, she accepted. She's putting her TBS out on the line versus Julia Hart, a rematch 2 years in the making. So that's gonna be super fun to see. I think that's gonna be a great match. Harley Cameron, she let them know like she was gonna even she let Sky Blue know if she gets involved, she's gonna be there to even up the odds. Because aside from them two, there's nobody else involved in this feud that's going on. It's just the three of them versus each other. So I could see Harley and Sky Blue having a match on because I think they'll both be involved in that match on Collision. So I could see them having a one-on-one match on Dynamite or next week's Collisions. Because I don't think the feud is gonna end here, depending on the results. Maybe Chris loses. Maybe Chris retains on Dynamite because she also accepted. Maybe Chris retains on Dynamite. Willow loses on Collision. I don't know. We'll see. But Chris Statlander, she was like, she'll accept Tekla's challenge. And then she said she had one really cold line in there. Like, it was a good program, but she was like, at the end of it, she was like, we have everything that y'all want. So that was really cool because they do have all the championships. And then Chris was like, she'll do an eliminator match too because I'm ready to fight. I'm ready for a fight this Saturday. Want to be warmed up and prepared. So she's doing an eliminator match, open challenge, which was answered on social media by Isla Dawn. I don't know if she's going by a different name now that she's been with AEW because I forgot. But I think she's still under the same name, but that she'll be entertaining. Kenny Omega had a match with Josh Alexander. All right match. It wasn't terrible. It was just a really weird doubles. Like suplex over the top rope. I hated that spot. Like, it just didn't look good. And then Don Callis, he got involved. Kenny had to chase him off. Like I said last week, I already wasn't interested in this. I made it short about it. I wasn't interested in Kenny still feuding with Don Callis because it's like, look, been here so many times. Like, can we finally move on from it? And we just haven't seemed to do that. So that's just unfortunate. But Kenny Omega, Josh, put on a decent match. Kenny Omega ended up getting a win. So good for Kenny and then he vowed to become AEW World Champion for a second time. MJF was in the back watching that match too. He was in the back watching another match, I think, as well. So then you had the main event, which was Swerve Strickland versus Kevin Knight in just a fun one-on-one match. Swerve thinks highly of Kevin Knight, but he wants him to prove himself. He wants him to win something, which he did recently. He won the trios titles. Had this match with Swerve, no interference, just two good guys going at it. MJF watching as well. So the reason for Swerve and Kenny matches that they had is really just to prove that they're still in world championship contention. So I think Swerve and Kenny's paths have to cross each other. Swerve did get the win. I think I stated that, but really fun match. I do think Swerve and Kenny's paths will meet each other somewhere, probably around February. I could see it being a number one contenders match. Whoever wins gets MJF, and whoever loses, they got to crawl their way back up to eventually fight MJF. I'll give it to Kenny Omega at this moment because I think Revolution, if they do, because I want to see Swerve become two-time champion, and I do think that's what AEW wants, but I think it's going to be a bigger event than Revolution, like a Double or Nothing or All In. That's where I see Swerve winning the title at when he wins it again. So I do Kenny Omega versus MJF at Revolution. So yeah. I think Swerve wins at either All In or Double or Nothing. But yeah, Dynamite, I give it an 8 out of 10 for last night. Another good episode. Dynamite and Collision have been hitting all year so far. I don't really got no complaints about either show. Yeah, even the last Collision wasn't terrible. It wasn't getting like a 7 out of 10. So yeah, now we're done with the Dynamite recap. I can transition into the rankings portion of the podcast of the MLV Major League Volleyball. For those that don't know, it's 8 teams in the league, so this is going to be my power rankings after 2 weeks. I wanted to give it 2 weeks so I could see every team play, be able to catch up on some of the games that I missed because it's one on YouTube and CBS Sports that I'm able to watch, and then it's one on Victory, and it's games on Victory sometimes, so I got to catch the highlights of those, and it's games on most of it's another the Roku channel which I don't have. So some of these teams, well, really just one team mainly that I had to catch highlights of, but I'll get into that. So these is my then for the ranking segment. Like I said, the rankings could be something different every week, but this is my power rankings for the MLV after 2 weeks into the season because I gave it a bit of time to put these thoughts together. At number 8, I had San Diego Mojo, who are currently 1-3. They had the lowest ratio in the league and lowest amount of set wins. What I mean by ratio is the ratio of wins to losses. So they're just the lowest in the league, and that's for sets, not just games in general. They've only won 2 sets. They haven't. Now they haven't just won 2 sets. They've won 3, but because they're 1-3, so they had to win 3 sets. But they've struggled all year. They do have a player at 10th in assists, but they don't have any other players sitting inside the top 10 in any other stat that I can remember. So, yeah, it's been tough for San Diego. They haven't looked good this year. Yeah. Number 7 had a Grand Rapids Rise, who are 1-2, second lowest ratio in the league behind the Mojo. Not a single player in the top 10 for digs, which is kind of crazy considering you played 3 games and you don't have at least one player in the top 10 for digs. So it's like, yes, a few teams that have multiple players up there in a few categories, but not having anybody in the top 10 in digs after playing 3 games when you have somebody from the Dallas Post in there and they've just played 2 games. So it's like, you got to do better than that. At number 6, I have my Columbus Fury. We are 1-3, so technically we're worse than Rise in the standings, but the difference that separates, the reason why I put the Fury above them is because in set wins to losses, we have a 0.8 ratio. We've won 8 sets, lost 10 sets. So we have been in some competitive games, have been super close, just haven't been able to close it, which they could be the downfall of this team, like late in the season. But that's just something we got to pick up. Like that's something we can't have because we're 1-3. We should be 3-1 on the season, but we're not 3-1. Obviously, you can't live in hypotheticals, but we haven't been able to close out sets, which is unfortunate. And if you close out games in general, so we can't, pretty sure with 2 of our losses were in 5 sets. We had 2 5-set games that we just weren't able to close out. So this team should be 3-1. I do think we can get better. I think we can improve off of what we did last year, finishing worse in the league. But this is not a good start to the season. Number 5, I got the Dallas Post, the newest team in the MLV. This is the team that I was referring to when I was saying I was only able to watch highlights of them mainly. They're 1-1 on the season, newest team in the league. Statistically, they're in the middle, kind of everywhere. So it's like a lot of the stats are like directly in the middle. So I can only go off the statistics for the Dallas Post. Like they have they've won 4 total sets, lost 4 total sets. They have a -8 point differential, so they've just been mid. So it's like it's not too much more I can say. It's like all the teams above them have they've played more, yes, but they've just been better in general from what I've seen. Like two of the teams above them are also 500, but they've played more games. So I've been able to see more of what they've been able to do. Some key stats for Dallas, though, they are first in efficiency and a first in opponent efficiency, while also having 2 players top 10 in kill percentage. So this is very important for them because they're only 1-1 so far. But it seems like in this, because it's like a 28-game season. So obviously, what they're on pace, I'm not going to consider what teams are on pace for this early into the season because it's like his team is, there's one team, there's 2 undefeated teams. They're not going to go the whole season undefeated. You're going to take a few losses. So the Dallas Post, this is a good pacing for them. Like while it is some struggles while losing a game in 4 sets and winning another in 4 sets, there is signs of, oh, this team can get better throughout the season if they already have two players killing it when it comes to kill percentage. When you're that good efficiency wise, and it's not like you're losing by a terrible margin, like -8 in 2 games. It's like it's not something terrible. In both games, you went to 4 sets, so you haven't been swept. You haven't swept anybody, but that'll just come over time. Now moving into the top four. Number four, I had an Omaha Supernovas. I think so. Number four and number three, both teams are 2-2. I'm gonna talk about both teams at the same time here. Number four, I had an Omaha Supernovas who are 2-2. Number three, I had the Atlanta Vibe who are 2-2. What separates these two is now Omaha's dead last in blocks per set, which I don't know how they're 2-2, but they're dead last in blocks per set. And I do think in their individual games they have played better than the Atlanta Vibe, but this early into the season, I had to take into account the head-to-head, which the Vibe won. They beat the Supernovas head-to-head. Okay, I think we're back now. I was okay. That was not planned. All right, hopefully it doesn't cut out again. But um, performance. Oh yeah, as I was saying, Supernovas 4, Vibe 3. They had the same record, but Atlanta they had their second best in efficiency, and they only head-to-head victory over the Supernovas. Even though I think in their other individual games that weren't played versus each other, the Supernovas have been better. They lost their head-to-head matchup, so I can't put them um, ahead of the Vibe at this point in the season. At number two, I got the Orlando Valkyries, who are 3-0, best record in the league, but two of those wins did come in 5 sets. Good wins because it shows their ability to close out games. But to be a contender, you got to close out those sets sooner, even early in the season. Had a second best win to loss ratio, and there's 4 players in the top 10 for service aces. Then number one had an Indy Ignite, who've only played 2 games, but they're 2-0, and both of those games came on the road. So I've already showed you they can win away. Like they started the season playing on the road. So I think their first home game is coming up, but that's a great way to start the season. Best win to loss ratio of 6-3, 6 wins, 6 set wins, only 3 set losses. Then you got Member and the Beer, both 9 and 10 in kill percentage. While you got Mia tied for 6 in assists, Member 7 in efficiency, the Beer 7 in aces, and Lydia Martin 5th in blocks. Or yeah, all of them top 10 in those respective categories. So they've been great, and those are my MLV rankings, my power rankings after the first 2 weeks of the season. San Diego Mojo 10, Grand Rapids Rise, not San Diego Mojo 8, Rise 7, Fury 6, Dallas 5, Omaha 4, Atlanta 3, Orlando 2, and the Indy Ignite at 1. So we can move into the ice cold segment of the week. Who's been freezing cold over this last week? Well, it can't don't just got to be last week. It just be in general. But who's been ice cold recently? The Vanderbilt men's college basketball team. Vanderbilt has struggled this year. Well, not this year, but these past few games. Vanderbilt started the season 16-0. They was ranked. They had only played one ranked game though out of those 16, which came against Alabama, and those a 6-point win, their closest win of the season. So then they lose to an unranked Texas team by 16 points. Then drop back-to-back ranked matchups. First, number 4 Florida and 25 Arkansas at the time of them. No, Florida wasn't ranked 4. They lost to Florida by 4, and they lost to Arkansas by 25. So in the ranked matchups they played this year, they're 1-2, and they have a point differential of -23 in ranked games. They're 16-3 on the season, so they still have a really good record, but they'll fail in the standings and will continue to fall after losing again. And it's even the game versus Arkansas, I talked about it. Like, I can pull up my notes again, but that was just a bad showing. They lost. 2 of these games were close. Like I said, they lost to an unranked Texas team by 16. Florida beat them by 4. Alabama, they only beat Alabama by 6, which was their closest game. That was Vanderbilt's closest game for a majority of the season, and then until the Florida matchup. And then I gotta get my notebook to remember what happened in that Arkansas game. Just like they couldn't do anything versus Arkansas, and I think that was pulling up my notebook now. Oh yeah, Arkansas opened up that game on a 13-2 run. That's how they opened up the first half. Arkansas was up 13-2. The offense just couldn't be stopped. Offense was just having their way throughout that game. So Arkansas's first half offense was lethal, and they led 45-35 at halftime. So they battled back a little bit. They didn't trail by 11, but they still was down 10. So it's really like they really just exchanged buckets after that impressive run that Arkansas got off to in that game. And the reason I'm highlighting this game specifically is because I've seen this one from start to finish, like watching the full game. I've seen the highlights and stuff for the other two. I've seen the highlights and box scores of the other two, but I was watching the Arkansas game trying to see what Brazil and A-Cuff, how they had been playing. And Brazil had a good game. Like, he didn't have the most points, but he had 10 points, 14 rebounds, 5 assists, 4 steals, and 2 blocks on 4-7 from the field. So I was really happy with what Brazil provided for Arkansas in that game. Then the second half, it's the same start. Arkansas 11-4 run to start the second half. And that's how you're starting the second half. You already allowed them to get off to a 13-2 run to start the first half. Then to start the second half, Arkansas goes on an 11-4 run. And then their lead just grows to 21 at one point in the game. So it was like Arkansas, they just dominated. And Arkansas won this game. And they won it 93-68 by 25 points. Arkansas's first 20-plus point victory versus an AP top 25 team since 2007. That was Vanderbilt's third straight loss. Yeah, I think, did they have 2 Tylers on the team? Because Tyler, unless I wrote that down wrong. No, yeah, he come off the bench, I think. But Tyler Nickel, he had 17 points, 3 rebounds, and a steal on 5 of 11 from 3. So Tyler did his thing. He did what he could, did just enough to get obviously wasn't enough for them to get the win because they lost. And they was ranked 15th going into that. I don't know when the new poll comes out, but I would assume there was a few days ago, so I forget when the poll comes out. But yeah, that was. Yeah, and then I think now they're 16-3. They do have Vanderbilt does have 4 players averaging 10-plus points, but something has to change for this team. Like Tyler Tanner, their starting point guard, he's been solid. He's averaging 17 points per game, 3 rebounds per game, 5 assists per game on 49, 39, 87 splits. I don't know why I put the free throw before the 3-point percentage, but yeah. 49% from the field, 39% from three, 87% from the free throw line. Tyler Tanner has been great this season. He didn't do anything in that Arkansas game. He didn't look great there. But overall, he has been really solid, and he's provided them great efficiency at the point guard position, giving them good playmaking, giving them good scoring, being their leading scorer. But this team, I think it also comes down to the fact that Frankie Collins tore his meniscus after 9 games. That's why, he's been out for 10 games. And ironically, in these 10 games, that went 7-3. But it started. This is when the games became closer. This is when it became harder for them to win. Because now that they're missing Frankie Collins, he had only played 9 games. He wasn't super efficient, but his impact was really good because he was giving them 7 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2.4 steals a game. While he might not have been efficient, he did get significant minutes because he was able to affect the game in so many different ways. So when you're missing that, it might not hit you immediately, but it do get to a point where it's like, when you're playing some of these tougher opponents, they can take advantage of some of the stuff that we aren't able to capitalize on. So I'm not saying that's the reason they've lost 3 straight, because at the end of the day, they have won 7 straight without him in the lineup. So I'm not saying that Frankie Collins is the entire reason they're losing, but I do think he's missed at this point. I don't see them losing by 16 to an unranked Texas if you can get that 7, 4-4, and 2.4 steals to just get that effort that Frankie Collins provides them. I think that Texas game might be a bit different. Maybe they still lose the Arkansas game, but I don't think it would be a 25-point blowout if you have Frankie Collins. Now, obviously, that's hypothetical. We can't live in hypotheticals. He is injured. But I do think that he is starting to play a significant role. I think it's catching up to them now because they haven't found the replacement for Frankie Collins. Somebody has to step up on that team and be the replacement and provide what he is able to do. Because, it's nice that you got four guys averaging 10-plus points, but who else is going to step up as a playmaker? Tyler Tanner's giving you 5 assists. Frankie was giving you 4 assists while he was healthy, but he's not right now. So who's going to take that playmaking leap that they need to help them get over the top? Because after starting 16-0 and dropping 3 straight, and you already dealt with the adversity with the 7 straight games that he missed before you started losing. So you've shown us you can win without Frankie Collins coming off your bench, without his 7 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2.4 steals per game. But Tyler Tanner, it can't be all on him. And even if there's games where Tyler Tanner don't step up as well, like the Arkansas game, that was a really important game for you to step up, and you didn't do that. Tyler Nickel came off the bench and had 17, 5 of 11 from 3. It's he can step. If you have Tyler Nickel making 5 threes, it won't matter if you're losing by 25. If you're giving up a 11-4 run, giving up a 13-2 run. And so none of that's going to matter if you're not able to win these games, if you're not able to play more competitive throughout the games. So it's you've only lost 3 games on the season, but 2 of those 3 losses were double-digit losses by at least 16 points. And you're 1-2 in ranked matchups, and you've lost all 3 games in the SEC. Well, I think they're 3-3 in the SEC because the conference games have started to pick up. But you're 3-3 in the conference. Your 3-game losing streak came in the conference. So not only will you drop in the AP poll in general, but you're going to drop in the conference standings as well because you lost 3 straight games in the conference. The SEC is tough. And Arkansas, they played great. I think they're 4-4 in ranked matchups, which that's not 4-4 or 2-2. I could be wrong, but Arkansas played a few ranked matchups this year. I got to check because I think it's 4-4, but Arkansas has been one of the best teams in general. They have 5 losses, but they do have one of the tougher schedules compared to some of the other teams. Once I check this, I'm trying to see how many ranked teams they played this year because I feel like 8 is such a high number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh yeah, they did. Yeah, they're 4-4 in ranked matchups so far this season. So obviously that's 500, but playing that many ranked matchups, and I'm talking about when they were ranked, so they might not be ranked now. But at the time these teams were ranked, Arkansas had a 4-4 record versus ranked teams, and they got Alabama and Florida later in the year. So okay, but Vanderbilt, that's the team that's ice cold for this week. 3-game losing streak all came in the conference. I don't know how they turn it around other than obviously Tyler Nickel. If he's able to perform consistently off the bench, that'd be nice. But somebody got to step up. Now we can transition into the prediction gauntlet. So the prediction, they can be predictions for any sport, any given week. So last week I did the NFL playoffs, which I'm gonna be doing more NFL picks, but I'm gonna talk about it in a separate segment for the impact stat because it's gonna be some important stats I want to talk about for the games. But for the prediction gauntlet for this week, WWE Saturday night's main event is coming up this Saturday in 2 days. So I'm gonna do my predictions for that. 3 of these matches have been confirmed. It's just a one that I'm not sure of. So that's the one I'm gonna start with. The one I'm gonna start with is Jade Cargill versus Jordan Grace. That one hasn't been confirmed yet. It seems like they're building towards that, but I'm assuming it's gonna be at Saturday night's main event. If not, because it's only 3 matches, so I feel like you gotta add a 4th match. So I'm assuming they'll add that, and obviously Jade is gonna retain it whenever they have a match. But I think like maybe it won't get the most time, but that's fine. Every match don't gotta be super long. I don't think it needs to be. I think it needs to be 50-50 though, since you just caught up with Jordan Grace, and she's a former TNA Knockouts World Champion 3 times at that. And so I don't think Jordan Grace needs to get squashed. So I think it should be a competitive match. I don't know about 50-50, maybe like 60-40 Jade's way. But Jade she's definitely gonna retain. I don't see Jordan Grace just getting caught up and winning it now. And she would have been a mid-card champion on the main roster first, and it could be believable. I thought she should have always went to the main roster, but oh no. I guess they had other plans for her. But this feud I'm somewhat entertained by it. But I think that should be a match it gotta be a match at Saturday night's main event or Royal Rumble. It don't really matter where it takes place as long as they make the match. So Jade, I got her winning whenever the match does take place, because they didn't promote it for SmackDown. So I'm sure they'll have another segment, but you got to set up a match either this week or next week. So let's get to that. Cody Rhodes versus Jacob Fatu. It's still not revealed if Cody took out Jacob Fatu. It's still not revealed if Cody is turning heel or not. So he's still a face for now. I don't know what role Jacob Fatu is playing. Like, I know he wants to get the championship, but attacking Kit Wilson does not get you closer there. Yes, he ran off Drew McIntyre, but went on to attack Kit Wilson later in the night. So are you a face or a heel? Because I'm super confused. You're going after Cody. I guess Cody took him out. Like, hopefully they deliver a really good promo for the Go Home SmackDown for Saturday night's main event. Because while it is going to be entertaining, like Cody Rhodes is interesting without the title. Like, he does some interesting. If they give him good stuff to work with the title, he can be interesting as well. But he's been great without the title as well. So it's like, I don't have no problem with Cody Rhodes doing non-title stuff. Like, I like that. I think it's going to be really good. But I don't know what Jacob Fatu is. I don't know who's what. So this excitement level isn't crazy. I think it'll be a good match, but I don't think this feud has been what it could be because of Jacob Fatu. If Cody took him out, him attacking Drew don't make sense. Because even though Drew was on the whole Bloodline Hunter thing, Jacob Fatu wasn't in WWE when the Bloodline cost him his championship match versus Roman. And so I don't really get the point of Jacob Fatu attacking all these people. So, but I do think Jacob Fatu has to win the match. I do have him win. It makes the most sense. Cody just lost the title. I don't think Cody will be hurt by the loss. Jacob Fatu just came back. And it's like, this is good character building too. Like, Cody can take a loss and show us that Cody is human. You already kind of overbooked him in his reign with the amount of times he faced Drew and with the way the Brunson Reed match was produced. Like, make Cody Rhodes human again. He don't have to be superhuman. Like, he can take a few losses, then he can get back on to his winning ways. He don't got to go on no losing streak. Like, nah, he don't got to do that. But him losing to Drew, then losing to Jacob Fatu back to back, like, that's fine. And then maybe he get eliminated by Jey Uso eliminate him in the Royal Rumble. Maybe you have a story there that you want to tell at some point. It's like him, because he don't need to win the Rumble either. And I'm sure whatever his WrestleMania match is, if it's Cody Randy non-title, think he'll get the win. If it's Roman Cody, I think Roman will get the win. But depending on who it is, like Cody, like going into WrestleMania, like I think it's very unlikely he loses whatever his WrestleMania match is. Especially a non-title match. Like I see Cody getting a big win, unless he is taking on a Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. Excuse me. So I do got Jacob Fatu winning versus Cody. Then we got Rhea Ripley and Io Sky defending their women's tag team championships versus Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez. This has been a cool story. The promos have been solid. I like how they're building to it. The promo on Raw was kind of shaky by Rhea, saying that Rhea and Io are always on top when it comes to Judgment Day, even though Liv beat Io at a Saturday Night's main event. So that was kind of funny. But I do like what they're doing here, especially having Rhea in the tag team division. Like a lot of people compare it to how Bianca was in the tag team division. I don't really care about that. Like I just want to see Rhea away from the main title, and I'm glad she's in the tag team division doing cool stuff with Io. So I do expect Rhea Ripley and Io to retain. I don't see them losing the titles that quickly because they're going to walk into WrestleMania as tag champions. Like they were both on the WrestleMania commercial. Obviously, they were going to be WrestleMania regardless, especially Rhea. So keep the titles on them. It's the easiest way to go into WrestleMania by having them as women's tag team champions, and you get some more spotlight by making people care a little bit more and putting it on WrestleMania. Maybe that's where they finally lose it to Nia Jackson, Lash Legend. Like maybe that's how Nia Jackson, Lash Legend finally win the titles. Liv, I think Roxanne ain't gonna show out in this match. It's gonna be definitely think Roxanne is gonna show out. I don't see, like I don't know what shenanigans can play a part in this, but I just see Rhea and Io retaining. Like I don't even think it's gonna be any shenanigans involved. Like Judgment Day are just gonna be disappointed. Maybe Roxanne takes the pin and then she gets blamed backstage for them losing. But I think it'll be cool if Liv took the pin. If they are gonna have Liv win the Royal Rumble, have Liv take the pin. And then you got the Fatal 4-Way for the number one contendership shot at Drew McIntyre at the Royal Rumble. So I think this will, and then Damian Priest and Trick having a match on SmackDown. I think I'm predicting Trick to win that match. Continue building him, already putting him in the main event scene. But the Fatal 4-Way features them two, along with Sami Zayn and Randy Orton. This is gonna be a lit Fatal 4-Way. Sami Zayn, he's built himself up since winning the U.S. title. Had a solid reign with it. It was really just matches. Didn't have any stories, but it was solid. Damian Priest beat Alistair, gained some momentum. Then he beat Solo. Not happy about that. But Damian Priest is a former world champion, so makes sense. And Trick, new up-and-comer, already cutting promos with Sami Zayn, with Randy Orton. And Randy Orton is also in this match, a legend, always getting some type of opportunities, whether he wins it or not. But I do think Sami Zayn is winning this match. It's in Montreal, I think. Yeah, Saturday night's main event is in Montreal in his hometown. Then the people in Saudi love Sami too, and the Royal Rumble just happens to be in Saudi. So Sami gets the big home win, then he goes to a second home, and the crowd will be electric just for the match in general. Whether he wins or loses, they'll still be happy to get to see him wrestle in a one-on-one match. Like I'm sure he'll get a big pop if he was in the Rumble, but him being in a one-on-one match, I feel like would be more special. And then you could have him, even if he loses, I think whoever wins start losing to Drew. I don't see Trick winning because he's the heel. I definitely don't see Priest winning because even though he's the world champion, even though he's a former world champion, I think Sami has more credibility than Priest at this point. So it comes down to Sami and Randy, and I see Sami winning and getting a shot at Drew, but I do think Drew retains. I don't see Drew losing at the Royal Rumble. I really hope he doesn't. But yeah, those are my predictions for Saturday night's main event. Sami to win the 4-Way, get the shot at Drew. Rhea and Io to retain the women's tag team titles. Jacob Fatu to defeat Cody, but I think they'll both interact in the Royal Rumble. The following week, Dylan Jade and Jordan Grace gets made official for Saturday night's main event. I'm predicting Jade to win, which I think is very predictable, but I do think Jordan Grace should get a little bit of offense in because she is a former world champion in her own right, so I don't think she needs to be completely dominated. by Jay, but I do think Jay needs to get the win convincingly. So yeah, those are my predictions for Saturday night's main event. Like I said, the Jay match has not been confirmed yet. And now, Impact stat. All these segments have been 10 minutes, okay? That was kind of the goal anyways. Impact stat. What stat tells the bigger story for this weekend? The Seattle Seahawks are the number one defense in the NFL, and they're taking on the number one offense in the NFL in the Rams. They split the season series 1-1, two close games, back and forth battles. The number one defense taking on the number one offense. Truly the test of which really wins championships, as this is the NFC Championship game. Like I said, this will be a little bit of predictions too, but the Seahawks defense is amazing. It's been great all year. But the Rams, they got the experience. You got Matthew Stafford, you got Sean McVay, and this is the only team that Sean McVay is going to play a second time in the playoffs. So with the experience of McVay, with the experience of Matthew Stafford, MVP candidate this year, I see the Rams winning. Like, yeah, it's on the road. They split the season series, but I do think offense takes the win here. And I usually wouldn't say that, but I just think it comes down to the quarterback play here. Because I think the Rams defense isn't good, but the Rams defense, they're smart enough to get the necessary stops. They did that they showed us versus the Bears. They could get the necessary stops, hold the Bears to a lower score that they aren't used to. In the Panthers game, a higher scoring game, they showed even as electric as Bryce Young was in that game, towards the end, they got the necessary stops they needed to get the win. So, and then the Seahawks, they dominated the 49ers. They didn't look like they missed a beat, but now Zach Charbonnet is out. And even though he wasn't used much last week, they did bring him in for a few plays. So now Zach Charbonnet is done for the season. It's all relying on Kenneth Walker because you don't have that backup back now. Because you can't have them sharing carries like they did throughout the regular season. Like they didn't share carries last week. Like Ken Walker, he dominated the 49ers. But at the end of the day, these defenses played the Rams and 49ers had different defenses. Another divisional matchup. It could be different. Like the Rams might be able to isolate a Ken Walker. Even if they're not able to, Ken Walker could just get tired. And he doesn't have that guy that he can just sub in for. Because who is that other running back he's going to rely on? I think they got Blake Corum. So maybe they call him Blake Corum a little bit in this NFC Championship. But I don't. Well, no, I think the Rams got Blake Corum. So I don't know what I'm talking about. But the Seahawks, who are they going to rely on? Who are they going to call on if Kenneth Walker does get hurt? Not saying that I want that. I don't wish injuries on nobody. But if Ken Walker does have to go out for a period of time, even if he just has to rest just because he's tired in like the third quarter, who's that backup now? If you don't have Charbonnet, like Charbonnet, he can get some explosive runs if you need him to, but you don't have that now. For the Rams, I'm pretty sure everybody is healthy except for maybe one person. But Puka, like I said, he wasn't. I said it previously, he wasn't going to have those same drops, and he didn't. So Puka, can Puka be the offensive player of the year candidate that he is this season? Stafford in the MVP race, can he be that in this game? I believe so. So I do think the Rams is going to walk away with the win. Do I think it's going to be easy? No. I think it's going to be a super close game. I don't see it being easy for either side, no matter who wins. But at the end of the day, the Seahawks are still the number one defense. So it's not going to be easy for the Rams to get a win. It's going to be easy for the Seahawks to get a win because the Rams are the number one offense. Because the Rams outrun and just make the Seahawks defense more tired. They'll be able to do that. It's possible. You can, what's his name, have another kick return and get this game started. The Seahawks, they got that in the 49ers game. They had a kick return to get the game started. Can that happen? Will it come down to special teams? It can come down to a lot of factors, but I think it comes down to you have the MVP of the league and you have an offensive player of the year candidate. Like they're both, you could be walking away with 2 awards before. But Stafford, I do believe, has been the MVP this season. I would have went CMC personally, but I do think Stafford is winning it. And I think he will prove why he should be MVP in this game. Now, to the AFC game, you got the 1-seeded Broncos who don't have Bo Nix taking on the 2-seeded Patriots. The Patriots, offensive rookie, Man, there's a lot of award-winning candidates. Nick Benito, Defense Player of the Year candidate for the Broncos. What's the name? Trayvon Henderson, Offensive Rookie of the Year candidate for the Patriots. Drake May, MVP candidate for the Patriots. But the Broncos don't have Bo Nix now. He finished that game on adrenaline. He was standing up crazy. But you don't have Bo Nix. You don't have your quarterback. You don't have that Bo Detroit Franklin connection. Even if Detroit Franklin doesn't play well, and this just through the course of the season, even if Detroit Franklin isn't amazing, him and Bo Nix having that Oregon connection, being together for 2 years, then bringing it to the NFL, that's special because that chemistry never leaves, especially since they're on good terms. It will be different if they was on bad terms and didn't like each other, but they respect each other. They love playing with each other. So not having Bo Nix, you got Jarrett Stidham. He has to step in. He's starting. Is he going to be able to make the right throws? Is he going to be able to read the Patriots defense, which has been really good? Can Jarrett Stidham do that? Can he pull off this miracle? Can he pull a Nick Foles? And Nick Foles at least got a few weeks toward at the end of the regular season to play. Jarrett Stidham didn't have that. He didn't take a snap all season. So can Jarrett Stidham put together a good enough game to defeat the Patriots? Now here's a stat. The Broncos and Patriots have faced each other in the playoffs 5 times in NFL history. The Broncos won 4. The Patriots only won once. And 2 times they were in the conference championship, and the Broncos won both of those matchups. It was Peyton versus Brady, even though quarterbacks can't play quarterbacks. But it was a Peyton-led Broncos that beat the Patriots in the AFC championship twice versus Brady-led Patriots. So will that history play into effect, or will the Patriots finally win? Because they did win in the divisional. The Patriots are 1-2 in the divisional versus the Broncos. So can they win in the AFC championship? It's going to be tough. Jarrett Stidham got to step in. A lot of people are talking about, oh, look at the Patriots schedule. They got to play who's on their schedule. They can't control that injury. That's not nothing that has to do with the Patriots. The Patriots have played the games. They've won the games. They have an MVP candidate. They have an Offensive Rookie of the Year candidate. And I don't know if Mike Vrabel was in the Coach of the Year race. I forgot. He might be. They also might have a Coach of the Year candidate because Mike Vrabel, you could also put him in that race as well. So at the end of the day, this Patriots team, they did what they had to win games. So the Broncos 4-1 versus the Patriots all the time in the playoffs. But the Broncos don't have Bo Nix. They lost their starting quarterback. Will that make an impact? Yeah, it will. I think you're subbing in a guy who hasn't took a snap all season. Like, yes, he's gotten reps because obviously you never know when your quarterback could get injured. So you can't just not give your backup quarterback reps. But the Broncos haven't used him all year. He hasn't took a snap all year. Because the Broncos were in a lot of one-score games, so they require Bo Nix to be in there a lot. And then in the Jags game, they were getting blown out, so they were trying to complete the comeback. They were down 14. So they were trying to come back in those last few minutes. So on my prediction for this game, no Bo Nix, I will be a fool to pick the Broncos. As much as I want to see the Broncos win, since that's my dad's favorite team, I just don't think it's possible. I see the Patriots winning, and I do think this game might not be as close as the other game. The Seahawks and Rams, I think it's going to be one of the better games of the playoffs, one of the best this decade, possibly. The Patriots and Broncos, I'm not going to say it's going to be one of the worst, but I don't think it's going to be super fun or competitive. I see the Patriots winning by at least 10. Like, yeah, the Broncos defense is great, but I think having Jarrett Stidham is going to catch up to him. So I will take the Patriots in that game. And I'm predicting the Patriots-Rams Super Bowl this year. So, yeah, those are my impact stats. The fact that the Seahawks had a number 1 defense. They're taking on the Rams, who had a number 1 offense, and they split the season series 1-1. That's my impact stat for the NFC game. For the AFC game, my impact stat is that the Broncos are 4-1 versus the Patriots in the playoffs all the time. So, can that be changed? Will it be 4-2 for the? Will it be 2-4 for the Patriots after a loss? Can the Patriots become 2-4 with a win? Or will the Broncos improve to 5-1 led by Jarrett Stidham? Let me know what y'all think. I don't think it's happening. I don't have that much faith in Jared Stidham, but we'll see what happens. And so now we can transition into the last segment of the show, which is Athletes of the Week. So this is the best performing athlete over the course of the last 7 days. So from the 15th to the 21st, let's see what I have for Athletes of the Week. And since I was just talking about the NFL, that's what I'm going to start with. For the NFL, I'm with Kenneth Walker, 19 carries, 116 yards, 3 touchdowns. Also had 3 catches for 29 yards. As the Seahawks dominated the 49ers 41-6 in the NFL divisional round. It was a lot of great performances in the divisional, but Ken Walker, truly special. Like I said, he's going to have a big impact in that Rams game. But if he gets tired, they don't have a running back to take that pressure off of him like a Zach Charbonnet can do. Now, moving into the, I'm just stick with football. I'm off for that. College football. As we've seen, the college football championship took place. I dropped a short recapping that. Fernando Mendoza, 16-27, 186 yards, and he had a rushing touchdown. No passing touchdowns, but he didn't commit a single turnover in the game either. Had a very impressive rushing touchdown that put them ahead by 10 as Indiana became the first team in history to finish a college season, 16 and finish a college football season 16-0, and that was led by Fernando Mendoza and what he was able to do throughout the game, especially towards the end of it. For the MLV, I went with Leah Edmond. The Vibe went 1-1 this week in a win versus Supernovas. And in a win versus Supernovas, she had 21 kills, 43 total attacks, 12 digs, and 25 points. While in a loss versus Mojo, still played well, just unfortunately came away with a loss. She had 19 kills, 57 total attacks, 15 digs, and 21 points. Then for Unrivaled, Alicia Gray, her miss went 1-1 this week. In a win, she dropped 30 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, and 1 block, while shooting 11-18 from the field, 2 of 4 from 3, and 3 of 3 from the line. Just displaying amazing offense and helping her team get the win. Then in the loss, where she wasn't as great offensively, her defense was much better than the previous game. Even though her defense wasn't bad in the win, it was just her offense wasn't as good, so she tried to make up for it with her defense, but it just ended in a loss as she had 20 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks while struggling from the field, shooting 7-24, 3 of 11 from the three-point line, and 1 of 2 from the free throw line. But like I said, she tried to make up for her bad offensive performance by playing a high-level defense, and just wasn't enough for the win. Now, sticking with women's action, women's college basketball, went with Jada Williams for Iowa State. Went 1-1 this week, and there's been a lot of talk for a few reasons about Iowa State, specifically Audie Crooks, but Jada Williams did her thing in a loss versus Oklahoma, where she had a solid game, 15 points, 3 rebounds, 7 assists, a steal, 6 of 13 from the field, 1 of 5 from 3, 2 of 3 from the line. But then on a bounce back win for Cincinnati, she dropped a season high, also think career high, 44 points with 2 rebounds, 8 assists, 2 steals on 15 of 22 from the field, 6 of 10 from 3, and 8 of 12 from the free throw line. Now some more basketball for men's college basketball. One with Darius Acuff, junior from Arkansas. Also went another team that went 1-1 this week. A lot of teams went 1-1 this week. But in a loss versus Georgia, he had 20 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, along with 4 steals while shooting 7-16 from the field. Made all 4 of his free throws and shot 2 of 7 from the three-point line. But he was Arkansas's best player in that game. Then in a win versus Vanderbilt, as I spoke in that game earlier, he was Arkansas's second best player in that game behind Trayvon Brazile. But Acuff had 17 points, 2 rebounds, and 5 assists while shooting 50% from the field and 42% from the three-point line. So really good offensively. The only reason why I said that Brazile was the best player in that game is because of his defense. But Acuff, offensively, he had a really good game, like 17 points. But yeah, it's not the most, but he was very efficient in that game, and he provided good playmaking. For the NBA, had to go with Devin Booker. The Suns went 3-0 this week. Booker, he averaged 26 points in those 3 games, averaged 26 points per game, 4 assists per game, and 3.6 rebounds per game, while shooting 44% from the field, 42% from three, and 88% from the free throw line. For WWE, I had to go with CM Punk. His match with Finn Balor was the match of the night on Monday Night Raw. For me, I personally thought it was a really good match. Like, Finn looked great, came out to his original theme song. Punk, it was way better than that Braun Breaker match he had. So I guess the old guys just worked better together. But yeah, that was a really good match. A good way to close the show and to show respect to each other at the end. For TNA, I won Mike Santana on the AMT premiere. He captured his TNA World Championship once again in a great match. First, Frankie Kazarian to become a two-time TNA World Champion, and then at TNA Genesis had to deal with Nick Nemeth being special guest referee. As Frankie Kazarian got his rematch, and he will win there in a Texas Death Match to retain the title, and he was able to escape Nick Nemeth potentially cashing in. So Mike Santana went 2-0, and he escaped the potential cash in and losing the title again. So got to give it to Mike Santana. For AEW, I went with Jon Moxley. He provided great commentary on AEW Collision last Saturday, and then he was the star of the trios match he competed in, featuring the Death Riders, which I made a short about. So check that out when you get time. So yeah, him and his Death Riders defeated the Don Callis family, and he was the star of that match. He performed great. Like, yeah, I know it's people complaining, oh, it's another death match, but it's like recently he's been in one-on-one matches. Like, he hasn't been in a lot of death matches lately. Like, that was the first time he been in a street fight in a few months actually. So then to close it out for the NHL, went with, and I forgot to do the NHL last week, so I apologize for that. But for the NHL, Lucas Dostal, the Anaheim Ducks are currently on a 5-game winning streak, 4 of which came in this previous week, and he was the leading goalkeeper in 3 of those games. He didn't play the second night of the back-to-back versus Kings, so he only played 3 games this week. But in the 3 games he played, he was the leading goalkeeper, played great, and got the key stops that they needed. And 2 of those games went to overtime. So really getting key stops in those games, because if you don't get those overtime stops, then they're looking at you like, maybe we need the other goalkeeper. But he's done a great job keeping his team where they're at, helping them on this win streak. And that's how we're going to end the podcast today. I know I glitched for a few minutes due to some issues, but with that being said, leave a like, subscribe, comment, and share for others. Yeah, comment. Let me know what y'all thought about anything I talked about throughout this podcast episode. And I'll be seeing y'all with a new video tomorrow. Probably an NHL game recap. I'll see what game it is. Stay tuned.